Around the NFL podcast crew. Hi, guys. And obviously it's the offseason, so we kick a lot of ideas around the office. You're not, as we dream up fictional trades here, get a trade machine going, you're not actually thinking of trading those guys, are you?
Well, maybe one of them, Andrew. That's a professional tease right there.
Good job.
Yes, getting to it later in the segment. Why not have a little fun? It's the offseason. These are trades we'd like to see because we're self-centered like that. I'm going to start out with a very normal one, and I'm going to send Emmanuel Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys. Denver trying to open up some cap room, perhaps, to go sign Kirk Cousins. Manny Sanders, we heard some rumors, and John Elway didn't really commit to having him back. I think that would be a nice pairing with Dez Bryant, or maybe it allows you to release Dez Bryant, and you have Emmanuel Sanders as your number one receiver.
Well, it makes some sense in that he'd be coming home to the Dallas area. I think that could be a downgrade on Dez Bryant. With Dez Bryant, you're talking about, if you want to talk about a guy, both receivers have to bounce back from injury-plagued years. Dez is one of the best red zone receivers of his era. I don't know if I'd like that.
It would leave Denver with nothing at wide receiver outside of Demaryius Thomas. Him and a bunch of nothing.
But when that's floated out there and John Elway doesn't answer when he's at the Senior Bowl that Emmanuel Sanders is definitely coming back, then I kind of think he would be available. That's one of the best route runners. He's a little more diverse than Dez Bryant, don't you think, across the field?
Definitely a better route runner.
All right, can you top that as a trade?
I can top it. How about this?
All right,
this is a little meaty, so I'm going to have to read this. This is a Cleveland Browns pursuit of Jimmy G. They tried it last offseason. They tried it again.
When the paper comes out, we know we're in trouble.
There's a chance to get their guy. Here's what they have to do. The Browns send the first overall pick in the draft, along with DeShone Kizer, Cody Kessler, Kevin Hogan, Duke Johnson, defensive coordinator Greg Williams, tight end David Njoku, wideout Corey Coleman, pass catcher Josh Gordon, tight end Seth DeValve, chief strategy officer Paul DiPesta, defensive lineman Danny Shelton, second-year kicker Zane Gonzalez, Browns executive assistant Kerry Savage, and Swagger the dog in exchange for Jimmy G and a 2026 seventh-round pick. Get it done. Let's make it happen, Cleveland.
Seems wildly unrealistic until you put Kevin Hogan in there. That
put it over the top for you.
I feel like Zane Gonzalez, Swagger, this is kind of a bit, and I appreciate it.
It's not a bit for me. I need this to happen.
Do you think if all of those people were on the table, the 49ers would even consider it for a second?
No, I
That's a lot of good players, a lot of top picks.
A lot to do there.
Speaking of the table, Jimmy G is off the table after what he did for the 49ers. I can't see them trading him for anything.
I don't think that's going to happen. Or the Browns could have just offered a first-round pick for him last offseason, and maybe that would
have been cleaner.
That would have been better. All right, what's your trade? Bring us back.
If Jimmy G is at peak value right now, Andrew Luck, his value has reached its nadir with all the shoulder injuries. The Colts, I feel like he could sue the Colts for non-support. I don't want to see Andrew Luck go through another rebuilding effort with the Colts. They don't surround him with enough talent. Let's stay with Cleveland and send Andrew Luck to the Browns for the first and fourth picks in the draft. The Colts end up unprecedented with 3 of the top 4 picks in the draft. The Browns finally get their franchise quarterback if the shoulder checks out. His ceiling is the best quarterback in the NFL.
I wonder if you're John Dorsey that you listen to that, because after 1,000 general managers have come through and failed to solve the quarterback issue, you do it that quickly, right away, if he's healthy.
John Dorsey would listen. I don't know if the Colts would listen. Is this a healthy Andrew Luck? Because if it's a healthy Andrew Luck, he's off the table too.
Nobody knows if he's healthy. I don't think the Colts even know. But it allows you to go get either Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold, Saquon Barkley, and Bradley Chubb in the first 4 picks of the draft.
Change your entire team.
So this is basically a Save the Browns segment.
It's also a Save the Colts segment.
That's what it's boiled down to.
Andrew, this is a segment that we are doing on today's podcast, and as you know, our podcast often leans heavily brown, so it was a good preview for that.
And you could download it at Around the NFL at NFL.com. 2 things. Number 1, Sessler, you just tried to trade a dog.
I tried.
And a poor office assistant that might be watching the show
Kerry
right
Savage,
now.
very talented from what I hear.
And number 2, Chris, as you know, and Charles Bentley is the cautionary tale here, if they did trade for Andrew Luck, his shoulder wouldn't be right.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Touche.
Guaranteed.